right? That means that we're not getting vitamin D, we're not getting that sun exposure to our skin. That's why we are more susceptible to getting sick.
Yep. We are designed to look a little bit more mature as we age and as we get older. And it's not because of sun exposure and actually gets pigment in the skin and actually starts changing color with sun exposure. And that's normal. That's not a sign of overexposure. A sunburn is a sign of overexposure.
Not get that burn, but also being cognizant of the other things, the other chemicals that are.
They generally have a lot of excess chemicals in them. They have a lot of different paraffins in them. They have a lot of things that react to the skin, but also are known carcinogens.
Yep. Beets are amazing for skin. If we have acne, AF beta food works really, really great for that. And we can get supplements with collagen, B vitamins, biotin,
vitamin C.
There's many things that we can do as alternatives.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Skip Wyss, and I am with, as always, the beautiful, wonderful Dr. Julie Wyss. Today, Dr. Julie, this subject is right in your wheelhouse. You are one of the smartest women I know on this, and the way you've taken care of our children, I know you're going to ring this one out. So let's talk about today. Today, it's a little cloudy outside, right? And it's a little rainy.
Yeah, but we need the rain.
We need the rain. But what is opposite of cloudy and rainy?
Sunshine.
Sunshine, exactly, because as always, you are my sunshine. You used to sing that song to our son Brecken all the time. How does it go?
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies
are gray. And super important, that song actually, if you listen to that song and listen to the words of it, the sun has an amazing health benefit to it. We have been taught as a society, actually in the last, I would say 30 years, that been pretty much, I wouldn't say brainwashed, but really told that the sun is increasingly bad for us.
Well, it's the scare factor, right? And I understand if you struggled with skin cancer or those scares, yes, absolutely. But we need sun, just like the sun. We need sun for our gardens and our plants to grow and to thrive. They need the sunlight, they need water, they need their vitamins. We need those things as well. It's that important for us.
I think that as we've known with our education over the last, I would say 20 years of really understanding natural health care, the sun is absolutely essential to being healthy. Absolutely essential because it allows our body to produce a very, very important vitamin called vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of those things that we cannot produce on our own. We need it. We can get it from our foods that we eat. We get it from the fats in our food and dairy products and things like that we put into our body. So the sun is a very, very natural form of vitamin D that we can consume on a daily basis. And it doesn't cost calories.
And it doesn't cost money.
Exactly. Well, that's the truth. So this day and age, people are they're worried about the economy. It's election season, all these things. Well, one of the most vital things to keep ourselves healthy that doesn't cost money is sun exposure.
Right. And so like you just said it, to stay healthy. So this is the incidence of why, especially in the Midwest, right? So we're not talking the coast, we're not talking West Coast, we're not talking down south. Right. When we struggle with sunlight during the year, right, that means that we're not getting vitamin D, we're not getting that sun exposure to our skin. That's why we are more susceptible to getting sick. And so when summertime comes, it's kind of like, oh, we're always feeling better, we're healthy. We must be doing all of the right things that we're putting into our body. But sometimes just that little bit of extra sunlight is trumping all of those bad habits that we have. So if we don't change anything from winter months to summer months, but the sun exposure is what is changing, that is what is helping our body to better induce a good immune support.
Exactly. And so the sun, one of the biggest things for sun exposure is half of your skin, 20 minutes a day. If you can do that. So during the summer, during the early fall, late spring, where we are at the right latitude and longitude where we get good exposure at that time of the year. The rest of the time of the year, it's not the best. It's still there, but it's not as close to us as what we would like. But that's also a reason why our body actually tans and actually gets pigment in the skin and actually starts changing color with sun exposure. And that's normal. That's not a sign of overexposure. A sunburn is a sign of overexposure. Sunburn is a sign of overexposure to the sun, and that can cause damage over time, correct?
Absolutely. Premature sun aging, sunspots, right? And this is sunlight, natural sunlight is definitely different from tanning beds. Growing up, 80s, 90s, tanning beds were like the thing to do
Yeah.
because you looked good to have that nice tan, that golden
Well, you
color.
turned orange.
I mean but it's still, people are still doing it, but I think there's definitely been a change within the culture of, and I don't know if it's a stigma type of a thing, but you know when we have the golden, the whiteness, right? That was like when you showed your alabaster skin, that is what people would see as royalty.
Yep.
Right, because you weren't out in the fields and working.
Yeah.
So part of that culture definitely got changed to having that golden sun, having that nice tan color, the bronze in the skin tones,
the sun-kissed glow.
Absolutely. So we just need to we need to be in the middle of that. And so
Okay.
that's where we talked about that 20 minutes is good to get that sun exposure to our skin. Like that's where, okay, when do I put it on? If I'm going swimming, if I'm going to the lake, I'm going to the beach. Well, ideally, if it's before you're leaving, right, to get that sun exposure. Maybe you're swimming for a little bit, you get that sun exposure. After that 20 minutes, that's when you're coming back out. Maybe that's your snack time, moms, but you're fully drying off. You're applying that sunscreen, but then we need to also wait, right? So we can weigh the benefits of, okay, what type of sunscreen are we using? But if we don't actually take the time for that sunscreen to soak into our skin, it's not going to give us that covering that we need to keep away those harmful rays.
So since you're going down the sunscreen route here, and I think it's important to talk about this, for our parents that like to provide some UVA, UVB protection for their kids after 20 minutes of exposure, what are some things that you recommend parents actually maybe stay away from in their sunscreen?
Well, not all sunscreen is the same.
No.
We can make homemade sunscreen. Sometimes, like if you can actually just get rather the sun shirts, right, or the hats, those things. If we're going to be outside after those 20 minutes, the sitting underneath an umbrella, that we can still get that fresh air. But we're going to be looking for a lotion. I prefer a lotion always over a spray.
Well, you make your own sunscreen.
I do,
and it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's like
and it
SPF
works
like
awesome.
2000 once we would add up all of the things that are in it.
So go ahead.
But we're looking, zinc is going to be that thing that is really shielding you from the sun. We're looking for that we can still get, decrease that sun exposure to not get that burn, but also being cognizant of the other things, the other chemicals that are in those items.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like when you're looking at your sunscreens, when you're looking at sunscreens that are aerosol, so we're using the sprayers, they generally have a lot of excess chemicals in them. They have a lot of different paraffins in them. They have a lot of things that react to the skin, but also are known carcinogens. That's one of the biggest things is that some of these ingredients that are in these suntans that we spray on ourselves, they have active known cancer-causing agents in them. And over time, chronic exposure, which happens a lot where people, they kind of send tan lotion up all year round now, it seems like. Even skin creams that we put on our face have an SPF in them, have a sun protectant factor in them. And I'm not in agreement with that. I think that changes. Everybody's been so worried about the sun making you age, the sun making you look a little bit older, the wrinkles in your forehead, the crow's feet you get by your eyelids and by your eyebrows. In fact, Botox is being used nonstop now as
for all the parts,
constant things for all the parts. You are correct. And it changes the way we age. And we're designed to age. We are designed to look a little bit more mature as we age and as we get older. And it's not because of sun exposure. And people, you may react to this on YouTube and listen to our podcast and say, Dr. Skip, Dr. Julie, you're absolutely insane. Like, this makes no sense. No, this makes perfect sense.
But there is other ways instead of, you brought up Botox. If we have skin issues, skin concerns, beets are amazing for skin. If we have acne, starting with those wrinkles, AF beta food works really, really great for that. If we're thinking, oh, my elasticity of my skin is changing, right? Collagen, really good collagen
Yep.
foods in our fats, and we can get supplements with collagen. There's many your B vitamins, biotin.
Vitamin C.
There's many things that we can do as alternatives
Mhm.
that lots of times are better than what mainstream is telling us or recommending for
Agreed,
us.
because I believe that mainstream controls everything. So if people are talking to you mainstream wise, mainstream media, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but we really need to understand, are people that are giving us the education that we're looking for actually professionals and not just basing it off of some crap study they read or some article they read on a Newsweek. Like, these things don't work that way. So let's get a little sciencey. Can I get that
Mhm.
way? Because Standard Process makes an amazing product called USF ointment. USF ointment is factor F. Factor F is what pulls D exposure from your skin and actually is the taxi cab and takes it to your liver. The reason why you have a tendency to burn is
Mhm.
because you're lacking factor F in your body to pull vitamin D from your skin. So what happens during a suntan and then a burn is you actually get hypervitaminosis D and you get overexposure from the sun. So what happens then is that if you put a cream on that can actually help add factor F into the system, add taxi cabs to the congestion of people in New York to shuttle them around, we can pull D from your skin, get it to your liver, get it processed properly into the working form that our body actually needs of vitamin D. Then we decrease exposure of having a possible sunburn. That's what makes USF ointment so
Mhm.
great. But that's what makes Factor F. Guess where Factor F sits? What vegetable? You know this.
Um, tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Tomatoes. Incredible. Imagine that. Another one of God's superfoods, tomatoes. And it's a fruit. It's a superfruit because it's full of
It's
seeds.
like weird one, fruit, vegetable, what am I?
But mind you, this, it doesn't come from tomatoes grown hydroponically in a grocery store. They got to be on the vine. They got to be vine ripened. They have to be grown in the actual sunlight. Like, they produce factor F. Case in point, simple case study. You,
Mhm.
when you were pregnant with Brecken, insane amount of tomatoes you ate. Insane amount.
Bushels.
That is one of the only summers I have never seen you
Mhm.
actually get a little bit of a sunburn. You tanned so much that summer, and Brecken still eats tons of tomatoes, and that kid
He's the
never
only one that
burns.
tans. Yep.
In fact, last weekend he got his first sunburn. It's his first sunburn in about 5 years, and he hasn't eaten a dang tomato in months. So he asked me flat out, he's like, "Why did I all of a sudden get sunburned? I don't get sunburned, Daddy." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Listen, dude, have you eaten a lot of tomatoes? No. Have you eaten a lot of vine ripened garden tomatoes? No, Dad." I'm like, "Well, you eat a ton of tomatoes. So tomatoes, you got to eat. Tomatoes they're red on the outside. They keep your skin from turning red. Plain and simple."
Mhm.
So now that we've hit on USF ointment and Factor F, pulling vitamin D from the skin, could you just talk a little bit about, I guarantee you piqued interest in this suntan lotion that you make. Could you talk a little bit about it? Because I love it. It's nice. It goes on nice. It stays nice. It
Smooth.
doesn't turn you white. Like, what is this? What is this
So yeah,
magical
I mean
stuff?
it's all natural. It's
Mm-hmm.
shelf stable. Coconut oil, just in general, is really good for the skin. So
Mm-hmm.
we use that as a base. Your zinc oxide, right? Like that's going to be that chemical, but that is that barrier that we are
Mm-hmm.
using to then shield away from the sun. And then I really use all different carrier oils
Mm-hmm.
to then like carrot is really good, celery root, celery seed, to boost up and add all these additional additives to increase that SPF.
And then, do you use a beeswax? Do you use a wax in
I
that?
do, yep, a
Yep.
little bit of wax, and that's what kind of like makes it not glisten, but it goes on the skin. It
Mm-hmm.
keeps everything nice and smooth.
Well,
Um,
that beeswax also adds a small barrier
it
as
does.
well. Like, it's not fully waterproof, but it keeps it from washing off your skin
Hmm.
is really, really super easy. And it soaks in really nice.
And it smells good. And as if you have little ones, just because we're not going to say any names, but there's maybe like two or three big name brands when it comes to sunscreen,
Yeah,
just because there's a little baby on that showing its
with bright
bottom,
white butt cheeks.
or or it says safe for babies, we
Mm-hmm.
do need to look at that bottle and start looking at, okay, what are all the chemicals in that?
Yep.
Like what percent of what is on it? And when you start looking at it, and when, we're selling to the kids and to babies and we're saying
Mm-hmm.
that it's safe, but when we flip it over, again, it's marketing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have to really be cautious in looking at our labels. We don't want our babies sunburnt, right?
Right.
That's why they then wear the hats, the sunscreen hats. They have that the swimsuit with the arms,
Mm-hmm.
that they can still enjoy the outdoors. We
Mm-hmm.
just need to be cognizant of that their skin is really going to be absorbing all of those
Yeah.
chemicals,
Super
and their
fresh.
bodies are smaller, right? So they're going to
Mm-hmm.
be slower at processing those things. And when those chemicals get in there, sometimes it takes a while for the body to work through. And if they're not in a chiropractic care, it's going to take even longer for them to process those chemicals through the body. And it is a compounding effect.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're outside every day and we're slathering our babies in those creams, in those oils, in those sprays, again, at least now we know that there's some alternatives, or we can learn to turn that bottle over, not be so scared that, okay, I was out in the sun, my child 20 minutes, that like there was nothing on their skin.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, and it's okay to get a little bit of that color.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, what are the other things that we can prep and plan for to then just protect ourselves from the sun, because it's not scary. We need sun to grow and to thrive. And if we've struggled through the winter months and our immune system was shot and depleted and the child was always sick,
Yep.
we really need that sun.
Well, that vitamin D exposure, that sun exposure helps with the production of dopamine. It helps with the production of serotonin. It is a major, major cofactor in the production of very important feel good neurotransmitters. Super important. Plus, get this, sun exposure increases how well you sleep. Imagine that. Like,
It's usually
increases
like,
how
oh,
well
all
you
the
sleep.
fresh air. My child was outside all day, all that fresh air. That's why they're so tired. Well, yes, the
Yes and
fresh air,
no.
but it's that sun. It's starting that cascade.
Yes, and that's another thing too, is these sunglasses that are
Mm.
polarized. I don't mind polarized sunglasses. In fact, they're great. I don't like it when my sunglasses have UVA and UVB protection in them. The reason why is that the sun exposure doesn't actually help my retinas out then. Your eyes are designed to have natural sunlight exposure that produces, it kicks up adenosine in your body. It actually kicks up dopamine in your body. It makes your body awake, and then it makes it want to fall asleep. That sunlight exposure also produces more neurotransmitters and more vitamins that actually benefit your eyes, which is incredibly important, benefits your retinas, which is incredibly important. Listen, guys, like, we're seeing eyesight deplete right now in the world as a whole. We're seeing vision decrease in people. We're seeing their ability to not wear glasses really go down, where everybody is starting to wear glasses. And some will say it's due to the blue light exposure to your cell phones. Yes, I do agree partially with that, but I also agree with it is the lack of sunlight and natural light exposure to your eyes.
Everybody's wearing sunglasses.
Everybody's wearing sunglasses. Everybody has sunglasses on nonstop. In fact, now that we've been doing this research over this last year, you will notice I don't wear my sunglasses as much when I'm driving, all sorts of things. Reason why is that I want good natural light exposure to my eyes. I want my eyes to be healthy. I want my vision to come back better. And a lot of the times, if we are wearing sunglasses, if we are wearing things that are filtering the good light into our eyes, that is keeping us from fully waking up and developing and keeping and sustaining really good vision. And if we cannot sustain good vision, what do we have to do? Now we have to take some sort of multivitamin to feed our eyes. We have to take some sort of nutritional product to feed our eyes. Now, fine with me. If you want to buy nutritional products from us to feed your eyes, that's fine. But if you just want good light exposure, no, I'm not telling you to go stare at the sun. Like, don't go, like, we're not eclipsing this thing. We're not staring at the sun, but just normal sun exposure to our eyes from just normal light rays passing is so healthy for us, helps our eyes out so much. And then if you want to wear some sunglasses later on in the day, or you feel that fatigue come on, no problem. Some patients too will come into us and say, bright sun gives me a headache.
Mhm.
All right, there's more to that than just bright lights give you a headache. Why is your body perceiving that bright sun or that bright light as causing some sort of optic visual stress? Shouldn't be that way. So why are your eyes not regulating that sun exposure properly? Why are your irises and constricting and contracting and changing how much light come into your eye. Why are we not focusing like that? There's more to it than that.
And our eyes may have become more sensitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to try not to wear my glasses as much, you might have some issues when we first start to
Mm-hmm.
change that. But again, our bodies are super, super smart, and
Mm-hmm.
they're amazing in that if we decide that, okay, I'm going to wear my glasses less and less, my
Mm-hmm.
sunglasses less and less, over time, your body will then build up those really, really good habits.
Mm-hmm.
Your vision will start to change. The vitamins, the nutrition to your eyes are going to change. That then you'll be able to withstand longer and longer
Mm-hmm.
without maybe getting that headache right away.
And I just got a neurology thing go through my mind. Can I geek out one more
Mm-hmm.
second? So, why do our irises not constrict properly? They should dilate and constrict like they're supposed to. Well, here's the thing. If you're in a nonstop stress state, which would be fight or flight, sympathetic dominance, which comes from your body being under stress, your brain not communicating to your body not communicating back to your brain, subluxation, chiropractic issue. If we adjust you, we can see big changes. If your nervous system has blocks in it, we can see these changes. But if you're stuck in sympathetic dominance, your eyes are dilated. If you are trying, so think of it this way, if you're running from a tiger, you need to be able to see as much as possible, so your eyes will dilate so you can see. If you're nonstop stressed out, your eyes stay dilated. What that then means is that they cannot properly constrict. Problem with that is that now we can't regulate light in and out. Hence why you are getting hypersensitive to light and you have
And
light
headaches.
hypersensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we're in this constant fight or flight sympathetic state, which 90% of the people running around right now are, including children, if we can't get your body to calm down and get into that rest and digest state, those eyes will not properly dilate and constrict because they're stuck. They have to stay dilated because your nervous system's stressed out. So just a little bit of chiropractic tid point there. Yes, you should be checked. Yes, you should have your nervous system balanced. These are all things that regulate that eyesight, that help you get better eyesight, that help you feed your eyes, but help you regulate sun exposure to your eyes. Super important. We can regulate sun exposure to our skin, but the sun is important. Vitamin D is important. And just like you and just like the sunlight, you light up my life. This is why we stay married so well. She gets these nonstop pickup lines, these one-liners, and as you can see, it works really well. Anything else today, Dr. Julie?
Nope, that's it.
Everybody out there, go down there, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe to what we're talking about here. Share this with as many people as you possibly can, because Dr. Julie and I are on an absolute mission to get proper healthcare and chiropractic to the children of this world and their families. And the Prime Podcast is the way we're going to do it. So take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.